Good day, Canada. Good evening, Asia. It's Thursday, 12 p.m. in Toronto. Means it's time for our regular webinar on immigration and visas to Canada. My name is Alex Davidson, and today we'll continue talking about studies in Canada. As I have previously promised, we'll talk about inexpensive and reliable institutions and how to save money on your educational cost. Here's our agenda for today. First slide, as always, will be devoted to our Canadian and Bangladeshi team. I will stop for a minute or two and we'll discuss with you what we do here, why we conduct these webinars, how our help is different from what you may find at streets in your city, town, or any place you live in. Next, we'll talk about Western education in general, and I will give you brief examples of education in other countries. We'll compare it to Canada. Of course, we will talk about immigration and how short-term and long-term education can be transformed into permanent residency and citizenship in our country. I will then specifically stop on one interesting note: local agents and genuine agents. I want you to feel the difference and see how much you may lose if using services of so-called unauthorized representatives. Of course, we'll talk then about education in Canada as your investment and how this investment could be converted into monetary terms. Then I'll show you a couple of examples how you may save significantly on studies and even study for free. Lastly, I'll share our contacts for further communication and questions. And those who work with us know how excited we are about helping you, answering your inquiries and addressing concerns. So please use our contacts for direct communication with me, with our local and Canadian team, and remember, there are no bad questions. Now, a little bit about us. As usual, LP Group Canada, we were established 16 years ago, have an office here in Toronto and the city of Markham. Our primary role is visas and immigration. That's our daily job. And so far, for the period of more than a decade, we have helped about 8,400 families and individuals to relocate in Canada, either temporarily or permanently. All of our personnel is licensed, certified, and we're working with you to help you, to answer your questions, and to guide you legally and properly. Let's go ahead to the education. Education in Western countries is inseparably connected with the Western civilization and its progress. It is the primary driving force of the scientific and technical revolution we witness today, and I would like to show you a quick comparison of the most popular educational destinations and compare and give you an idea of their pros and cons. Let's look at the United Kingdom first. It's probably the most traditional country for foreign students. It is, however, the most overly used and the most, I won't afraid to say that, the most corrupt one. Everyone has heard at least once stories of non-certified colleges and institutions which diplomas and degrees are not recognized anywhere. Average cost of tuition in the UK is much higher than anywhere else in English-speaking countries, and while quality is decent if we speak about genuine institutions, not private career colleges. There is one more factor to consider when it comes to education in the UK: immigration. There is no direct and clear pathway for immigration and for bringing your family in. So at the very best, you're getting a reasonable quality education for your money, nothing else. Let's look at Europe now. Lots and lots of really reputable academic institutions, organizations more or less reasonable costs. However, we have to admit it, Europe has very doubtful tolerance towards international students and towards immigrants. This practice applies to immigration. So you may stay in Europe, but you will never be Europeans. In my personal opinion, not the best perspective, guys. Now, our southern neighbor, United States. Great education quality, great experience, quite pricey still, and vague immigration pathway. And for the sweet, Canada. One of the best educational levels and quality services in the world. Much better than the one in Europe, and certainly on par with the UK and United States. Worldwide recognition. Canada is the only country in the world which diplomas are accepted anywhere from Alaska to Africa. Obviously, we as a country have open doors policy for new immigrants, welcoming, respectful, and most importantly, supportive. We do want you here, and we believe that immigrants, they enrich our culture, they help our economy grow and develop. Now ask yourself for a second, which society do you want you and your kids to grow in? And as we've just said, education is a pathway for immigration. Canada is the only country where so many opportunities are open to students. You may easily and relatively fast get permanent residency for your family, become a citizen, and bring your parents and grandparents in. I'll stop here for a few minutes and give you a sense what options are the life examples which are working nowadays. Very general path. For example, you apply for a college, you graduate after a year or two. Depending on your program, it could be a year, it could be 2 years, could be 3 years. That is your choice. Now, after graduation, you get an open work permit. Means that you're allowed to work legally without limitations anywhere in Canada. Not bad for the start, right? So next, you get employed, and after a while, you could apply for immigration for the whole family. Not a rocket science at all, right? Clear, very transparent, and easy immigration path. Next is an example of university students. So for university students, even easier. You come here for studies, you graduate, for example, from master's degree program, say in Ontario, and then apply for the immigration again for the whole family. Even easier than the previous option, as I said. And I do want you to understand that these are just examples of many doors which are open for students in our country. This is another example. Say families. You as an applicant come to Canada for studies, invite your spouse in here, spouse receives an open work permit allowing him or her to work for any employer in Canada, get employed, spouse applies for immigration, in this case, again for the whole family, including you. Some provinces, they ask students to work only for a few months before applying for the PR. Others do not require to work at all, just have a valid job offer. So just technical, how does that sound, right? You can get an immigration application lodged within just a few months after the graduation, or not even graduate. Say in the case where your spouse has applied for, you're still studying here. Now we're getting further. And I want to stop here specifically. A few weeks ago, we've discussed a situation with unlicensed, unauthorized representatives, and I want you to hear it one more time. How does it work, and what you might be losing in case you're using unauthorized or illegal representatives? I am fully aware of existence of so-called local advisors and local agents who for some reason believe that they could assist you in preparation of documents for visa to our country, can help you with selection of college or university. First of all, remember the general rule. No license, no Canadian license, of course, no works with such people. No one could legally represent you if he or she is not licensed by Canadian regulators such as ICCRC. Always ask for the credentials and the license number. That's not, by the way, the only difference. What I have noted over the years of difference is the final aim. For example, so-called agents will do everything they could to send you to a specific college or university. The reason for that? Well, they're getting commission from your tuition. No matter what your goals are, which province, city, learning institution you might fit better, they will try persuading you go into the place they want. It is well understandable too. You're a one-time deal which brings the money. No one cares about your immigration, about your family, about background. It's a pure pocket filling business. Obviously, we work differently. Our final aim is not just to help you get here. Of course not. We work with our clients towards immigration and citizenship and would never compromise your interests for the sake of just profits. Our intent is to have you here, successful, immigrated, with family, eventually with the family and with the parents. This is why we always listen and ask questions before offering a solution for an applicant. I personally spend a couple of hours, sometimes more, every single day answering emails with questions, educating, helping people to understand immigration matters better. Getting back to the education, let's look at it from the position of investment, from monetary points of view. Education is probably the best investment you can make in your life, and education in Canada is specifically lucrative for a few reasons. First of all, you might move a family here. Your diploma would be recognized anywhere you go, whether you would stay in Canada or return back to your home country. Up-to-date knowledge. And this one is the up-to-date knowledge is very interesting. Tuition base in Canadian colleges and universities is pretty much unique in a way. Ask any student and you will find out that books, materials are renewed every single year. Assignments are constantly changed and adjusted to make sure that your knowledge, one which you would receive after graduation, will be fully in line with the current practices and current Canadian market demand. This, of course, role has a specific purpose to help you get employed in Canada and apply your theory knowledge in practice. So we're getting more and more to the monetary terms. So how much would it cost? Remember the last time I promised that I will share with you examples of inexpensive education and how it could all be done for free. So here we go to the first one, inexpensiveness. There are two factors why lots of people still aren't effective in universally available education in our country. Lack of information and common misconception that education in Canada is expensive. Here's my thought about it. One of the most serious problems is those so-called local agents. When an intent of a person is to get rich using your wallet, you may forget about honesty. Over and over again, information is spread about expensive institutions, expensive colleges located in Vancouver and other metropolitan areas. Now, here's the reality. Canadian education could cost as low as 6,000 Canadian dollars per year. It is less than 5,000 US dollars. And here we talk about real, reputable, government-approved college with 1,000 students visiting and studying there every single day. Not some sort of small, dirty private institution for foreigners like the one you could find in England. Right? Now let's look a little bit further in that. Students are allowed to work. During your studies, you're allowed to work part-time up to 20 hours a week during studies and full-time on scheduled vacation breaks, which for you means that, say, with a minimum wage, regardless of a province, of $10.20, somewhere it's 10.20, somewhere it's higher, but anyways, 10.20 is the minimum one. So it means that no one can pay you less than that, and in general is paid more. You could, if you count it carefully, get to a number which would cover your tuition and even partially or fully living expenses in Canada. Going a little bit further, now getting paid for your studies. I promise to give you examples of free education. Yes, yes, absolutely free education in Canada. How come, you would ask? Well, bursaries. Traditionally, bursaries are paid to domestic students only, but there are more and more colleges and universities which have programs for foreign students as well. The thing is, lots and lots of so-called advisors know nothing about it. This is get into a question, say why Canada would pay to foreign students. Well, it's easy. When we compared education in different countries earlier, I have specifically mentioned to you that we welcome new immigrants. And we believe that with your help, we could build a truly unique and multicultural society. Now, this is why lots of colleges looking at you and investments in you as an investment in Canadian future, not into something foreign. Two of my students, one from Malaysia and the other one is from Poland, are graduating this year, and both of them, I'm not shy to say, are a matter of special pride for our team. Their 2 year tuition has been compensated 100% based on their marks and classes attendance. And you know what? If they could do that, why can't you? Right? Just a few months ago, when we have promised to ourselves that we will be on a crusade against fraud, against illegal immigration representatives, and those who cheat and defraud applicants for visas and immigration to our country. And with every presentation, every participant joining us today, I can literally see how attitude is changing. How many of you start to question the present situation and be alert of lies, false promises? More and more of you come with smart and specific questions to me about immigration policies and laws. How many of you could, and you could see the difference in what we are doing. But we're still, I believe, in the beginning of the road. There are many things we have to do, lots and lots of educational webinars ahead, and lots of questions still to be answered. My personal request to you all, please ask questions. Please be active, and in fact, be active controlling your future. On this slide, you can see contacts of our local partners in Bangladesh Visa Center. Please come to their office, address your questions to them and directly to us as well. We are here. Our final aim is to help you select the best immigration and visa program, help you to navigate through the sea of requirements, through the sea of policies and instructions. This is what we're working for, and I would love to see more and more active participants asking us questions, addressing concerns, and interacting with us. The more questions you ask, the more knowledgeable you will be, and eventually, better your chances for immigration will be. And if you like our regular webinars, please share them, give us your like. It's important for me and our Bangladesh team equally. In fact, it's important for all of us too. The more people would know about legal immigration ways, the lesser chance there would be space for fraud and for cheating. And the next webinar, we will talk about one more immigration program, the immigration to Yukon, far land of beautiful nature which is waiting for you to be explored. It will be a business immigration to Yukon, and I will show you how easily and inexpensively it is for almost everyone to immigrate in there. And on this point, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for joining, listening, sharing, and being with us. Stay tuned, and on this note, goodbye.